Hello, internet besties. Let's discuss why the interview between Speedy Mormon and Ace Green was received horribly for Ace, but was also the best thing that could have happened for Nick and Alandria. In terms of just the framing and messaging, one of the biggest issues I think that happened is that Ace hasn't done any real press during this whole post Villa era. And for those of you who don't know, Shelly and Ace particularly decided to take more of a social media break and really just focus on themselves because they'd received just so much backlash, and obviously them getting dumped from the island before finale definitely hurt them. And that's very valid. I think that when you're in those type of situations, especially dealing with like racial hate and death threats, they absolutely deserve that, rest. But here's where it gets tricky because the fact that Ace hadn't done any like individual press, it had also been confirmed that he skipped with the Keke Palmer interview. He was supposed to be there with Taylor and Nick. It sort of doesn't help the overall narrative about Ace. And this is the whole like idea that Ace is egotistical and he comes off a certain way. And it's just because that even though he was taking a break, it made him look bad in this interview. And I'm not even into the Nick and Alandria of it all, but there were also multiple people that Ace talked about in this interview, and it sort of didn't, help his case. I think people have always disliked Ace as a character, but I think what really happened in this interview, it felt almost that he was still trying to play the game of Love Island as him and Shelly. He was trying to get them to emerge as the number one couple and see them as the most authentic. The problem with that is that we as viewers, like, we're still obsessed with their post-Villa lives, right? But we have moved on. We're not voting for anyone. Like, Brian and Maya, who have already broken up, they won the show. Nick and Alandria came in second. Huda and Chris came in third. Iris and Pepe came in fourth. Like, we have all moved on collectively from who the best couple was. So in some ways, it does come off that Ace is still trying to prove that him and Shelly are deserving of a spot in the villa when all in all, that's over. Like, you guys don't have to do that anymore. You are together. You are, post Villa. Exactly. Now, getting into the Nick and Alandria of it all, Nicolandria, right? Nicolandria is perhaps one of the biggest social media phenomenons I have ever seen in the franchise of Love Island USA. Like, regardless of what they become, if they break up, stay together, marriage, whatever, who knows? They're not even official yet. People are going to remember this period of Love Island USA as Nick and Alandria time, right? And the fact that Ace considers Alandria as one of his close friends, I believe they had just hung out with Shelly for her birthday. And the fact that it doesn't seem like they had some type of conversation. So the fact that he did this after he was just with Alandria, to go on a podcast and then question the legitimacy of your quote unquote friend's relationship, and then also to admit that you sort of had a hand in the whole like Taylor and Alandria situation, and he kind of like alludes to things that I think are illegal. Like, you can't do that. He alludes to like being a part of certain things with Taylor and Alandria. Like, that didn't help his case at all. I think people often forget that the Nicolandria hype and fan base, like, it was created on a whole delusional thing. Like, most of their fans did not think this was going to happen, but they just collectively manifested and they prayed and believed in it. And what Ace has done has not only made their fans just want to go support them harder, regardless of what they become, if they become official, if they remain fans, but it's also made people looking outside of their relationship want to support them. And it's quite literally the same reason why Amaya ended up becoming the Love Island USA season 7 winner, because people just don't like Ace and they feel like he's very egotistical. I would also even say, I think another positive about Nick and Alandria is that they are very aware and intelligent about their presence in media right now. For real, let's say this is an obvious PR relationship and it's not fake, and perhaps like maybe they are, you know what I'm saying, like just doing it for the fans. What Nick and Alandria have successfully done is divert all the negative attention to causes that they care about. One of their biggest fan pages, Nicolandria Core, has even said that the Nicolandrians have successfully raised $11,000 in 6 hours for the Diabetes Research Institute. And just this morning, Alandria requested that the fan base also raise money for Lupus Foundation of America in honor of her mom. This is a combined almost $26,000 from the Nicolandria fan base. And apparently, we didn't even know this, but they are linked together. I don't know where they are, but they're actually together today. And that's why I say I think Nick and Alandria are very intelligent and aware of their presence in media right now, despite not even having an official label, because they know how to divert negative attention to things more positive. Because Nick and Alandria could have easily been throwing subliminals at Ace over the interview, but instead what they've successfully done is now put it back into their fan base and told them to go donate to charity and be more positive about them. And that's why the Ace Green and Speedy interview has backfired completely, because most people care about Nick and Alandria as individuals because they come off as authentic in comparison to most of the cast. And it also just wasn't a good look when Speedy went on live and said that he is more privy to information that we don't know. And when you guys hear this information, you're gonna get. Because the thing is, if there is some type of information that could hurt Alandria or hurt Nick, why not just expose it? Why not just tell people so they can stop supporting? So again, it just makes both of them look bad. And last but certainly not least, the timing of everything regarding this Ace podcast with Speedy was horrible, because this should have been a moment. This is on Essence magazine, one of the greatest black magazines ever, of the Essence, of course. But still, this should have been a huge moment. This is a black couple from Love Island season 7. We just had Cordell and Serena win last year. This should have been a larger moment. But now this isn't going to be a moment anymore, because most of the comments are focused on what Ace said about just not only Nick and Alandria, but also just the entire cast. And so I think that in the future, when people go on Love Island USA, they leave the island in couples. They have to remember that whatever you do as an individual is going to reflect on the other person, and you have to be very careful, because this whole fiasco unfortunately opened Shelly up to a lot of hate as well, and I really hate that for her, because she's been neutral, or at least it seems. Now there's even people in the comments assuming that perhaps she shares the same sentiments of Ace, and this is why people have to be very careful in terms of branding and image wise. Now, those are my thoughts on the whole Ace Green, Speedy Mormon, and Nicolandria of it all interview, but I want to know how you guys feel in the comments below. And if you stay to the very end, make sure you hit that follow button. Bye, y'all.